Alrighty, welcome to the 134th edition of the MMA Circus. My name is Nick Baldwin. He is Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence, and as always, we are your hosts for today. Clown Kid, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing really well, but first I want to acknowledge or get an acknowledgement from you that I've came to this show like 3 or 4 times in a row. Newer viewers of the show won't know this, but like I've been known to disappear on the MMA Circus. I've been known to no show.
You've been doing really well. Not just since moved to YouTube, but ever since, the ring on the finger, the wedding.
Oh yeah, don't bring that into it. Are you saying that because I'm a married man I've become more responsible?
Perhaps. I don't know why. That's probably a good suggestion, good reasoning, but you haven't missed a show since your wedding. Your wedding was almost 2 months ago. Almost 2 months ago.
Okay, so what I'm saying is it's a good time to announce that I'm probably not going to be here next week.
Damn it, Andrew! The collapse. You're doing so well. You had all the hype, everything, all the.
Well, let's explain it a little bit. Next week is Halloween. We always record on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
But
you're a busy guy every other day, so.
Well, this time it really kind of isn't me. You're the one asking for the reschedule. What's Nick Baldwin getting up to on Halloween up in the Winnipeg?
I don't have plans on the 31st, or this weekend yet. I mean, hopefully I'll do something. The plan is to do something. I just don't know what.
You're gonna get into like some trouble, right? You're a young kid.
I don't know. We'll see.
You got a car. You have a car. You have money.
Yes, I do.
You have youth. If I was you right now, I'd be making the most irresponsible decisions.
Yeah.
I probably would have gone to jail a few times.
Money, cars, everything. Yeah, that equals disaster. That equals disaster for you, but for me, for me, the responsible young boy that I am, I don't know. We'll see. But
we're gonna get you out there. There must be some party scene. If you're part of the party scene in the Peg, hit me up on Twitter at the Clown Kid. We're gonna get Nicholas out there in the club, hitting it hard.
40-year-old Winnipeg MMA fans are gonna hit you up. Yeah, we got something going on at 7 p.m. at my house in the north.
Did you read those reports about like the median age, like the average age of an MMA fan? And
not recently. Is there something?
We're getting old as fuck. We're getting old as fuck.
Well, I mean, isn't it around like 35 or so?
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's kind of an old person sport in a way. I feel
it is an old people sport. Like you're a young soul in an old person sport. You're forever going to be young then.
No, I'm an old soul.
There's going to be no new fans that are ever going to look up to Nick and be like,
old soul.
He's been doing it forever.
Well, yeah, I mean that will be weird when I'm 60 years old and still doing the MMA circus with God know who.
It won't be me.
That's gonna be weird. Yeah, it's not gonna be.
Well, I will have been dead for 25 years easily.
Well, you could do it live on location from the nursing home. That's an option.
Sure.
That would be great. That would be fantastic, actually.
What did you say? You're an old soul in a young
person, old soul in an old sport, whatever. I mean, it doesn't roll off the tongue nearly as well.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue. All right. So, did you enjoy the UFC? UFC Darren Till against Cowboy Cerrone.
You
were tweeting out negativity throughout it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you were kind of calling me out, but I don't think that's totally fair. I mean, it wasn't that good of a card, if we're being honest.
I fundamentally disagree. I had a better, more pleasurable MMA watching experience during that than I have during a lot of like big pay-per-views that were like Kevin Lee against Tony Ferguson. I enjoyed this card better. I'm gonna say that.
No, I mean, I didn't watch. I watched the last 2 fights for 216 a couple weeks back, so I can't really comment on that. But no, this one was. I mean, I don't like. I mean, I hate to say it, but this one was just sort of me sitting there watching the fights. When is it over? Like, let's get through these fights pretty fast. I'm getting bored, honestly.
Jesus, you become jaded already.
The
old man, old soul, old sport. Everything's just bitter over here. We're gonna change the name of the show from like the MMA Circus to just like the MMA bitter old men who have to put up the circus and take it down every day. The circus tent. Jesus Christ, man. No, I thought this was fun, man. It was during the middle of the day, so you're just like chilling. You know, I kind of came out of bed, you know, did a couple things around the house, had a little breakfast, and then just started watching this. I was straight up in my pajamas until like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. because of it.
It wasn't a terrible card. It wasn't. We've seen worse, but we've also seen much better. You know, I mean, the fact that there's so little name value on it doesn't help. You know, when you're sitting there watching,
Doc, there ain't a lot of name value in a lot of, like, you know, like Risen didn't have like great name value, but like wasn't entertaining as it was happening.
Entertaining.
Yes,
it's a production. This is just bad fights back to back. This isn't, oh, look at that teddy bear.
Okay, what were bad fights? Okay, what were bad fights? Let's run it down.
Okay, fine. Let's real quick. Just bad. What's good? What's bad? We talked about what we care about last week. Are we doing?
Sure. But like, okay, no, I'm going to talk about it as you go through it, right? So you watch like a fight like Josh Emmett against Felipe Arantes, and that's a fine fight because you're not expecting much. Shit's just starting. You're turning it on. You know, you're still getting yourself situated. You're probably eating a sandwich. It's all good. It's
well, actually, honestly, that was one of my higher ups for fights to watch. That was probably in the top 5 to 6 as far as the fights. So that was a good fight. We had a good start. The first 2 fights were
exactly.
Decent.
Aspen Ladd does her war shriek. That was awesome. That was fantastic. That now I'm super entertained. Now my fancy is being tickled. And then we move on to Warley Alvarez. And that fight was a little bit lackluster, but it was good to see him just like kind of tool on someone. That was fine.
Yeah, I mean, more so what you said, the former. It was.
And then your mind is being blown during Andre Fili against Artem Lobov because that was perfect fucking entertainment. That was beautiful. That was a fantastic product. Right then, that's the main event. The fact that you had fights after this was just like an extra treat, man. This was this was a lot of fun. The gym versus gym kind of like, and I guess everyone kind of knew that this was going to happen, but like it like unveiled itself and surprised. Yeah, I totally forgot about it, right? So, it was just so fantastic. It's so fun. And watching Andre Fili win like that, like, you know, it kind of felt good. I'm not going to be honest. I don't know why, but I was rooting against Lobov in this.
Well, you talked about last week how we argued whether or not Lobov was a terrible fighter. You said yes. So
I kind of was vindicated, right?
Well,
he looked terrible.
Fili's, sure, he didn't look good.
No, I described him exactly like he is. He was just like, he walks forward and gets punched up. If he's successful a little bit early because he's a tough dude, but once he gets punched up, he slows down, and then he's just like, he's Conor McGregor's walking heavy bag.
Although Fili's not a great opponent to determine whether or not a fighter is terrible or not, just because Fili is better than a low-level featherweight. He's had high.
He is, but he's been known to lose to guys who have like an all-around set or just like a little edge on him somewhere. Like, you know, Andre Fili, he was touted as someone who's supposed to go somewhere, and then kind of, you know, lost a couple fights he shouldn't have lost.
Up and down, but he was supposed to beat Artem.
He lost some fight. He bought. Yeah, exactly. That's the truth, right? But I remember he lost that fight like in Brazil to someone that everyone.
Godofredo Pepe.
Oh, was it? That's some old bullshit. But anyway, this was fun as hell, right? So we're talking. This was fun as hell, right?
Yeah, I feel like the fights started.
So the first 4 fights were. You're talking about that being an amazing show. That was an amazing show.
No. First 3 of 4. I don't count the Alves Tuari fight as a good fight.
Yeah, but who cares? It's just like it's filler time, man. It's just a fight that. So, like, no. How was your expectation that every fight has to be like masterpieces?
No, but when you're. I'm not saying I didn't have better things. Sure, I could have gone and done something else and something a lot more productive than watching Warley Alves 30-27, a newcomer that I had no idea who that was.
Yeah.
But you're sort of asking me, okay, so what did you think of the overall card? I can't just judge a card by the good fights, because then every card would be fantastic. I take the 3 best fights and say, oh, it's the 3 fights I watched. This was fantastic. Maybe for you,
so as 3 out of 4 fights were worth it and worth the time. You consider that card substandard.
Well, we also haven't gone over the other 2/3 of it yet.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but even after this, Brian Keller's fight against Damon Sasson,
but you skip all the bad fights. Sam Alvey, Ramazan Imov.
That was kind of boring.
Terrible.
It's kind of terrible. It was really bad. Poor Sam Alvey. Did you feel bad? I mean, at least there was the angle. Hey, I felt bad for Sam Alvey. But you need, like, not every fight can be good. Like, how long have you watched fighting? Like, a lot of times, if we're hitting 50% good fights, like 50% shit that you're like, oh my God, that was awesome, then we're doing great, man. We're having a good time.
50-50, not so much. I mean, there are times when the name value or the lack thereof, I should say, when you mix that with, when you take, okay, look at this card. I mean, let's break this down. So there were probably about 50-50 good fights, bad fights, but then there's no name value. There's like a couple ranked guys on here. There's,
come on, there's a story with every one of them. It's a show in Europe. What's the story in? What do you expect? Give me the example.
Okay, what's the story in Damian Stasiak and Brian Kelleher?
Brian Kelleher, you got your long. I mean, I'm partial to Brian
Kelleher.
He's a Long Islander.
There's no story there.
He's a local dude.
Who cares?
He had his moment in the sun. Yeah, and we're shipping him off to Poland, seeing if he can get a W against Stasiak or a rising Polish fighter. There's only a story in a fight if you have to go. Devin Clark's from America. And I mean, sure, there's a story in every fight if you're considering where they're from and enemy territory. The story, that's not a story. But I'm telling you that you know who the character of Brian Kelleher is, right? You know who he is.
Brian Kelleher is a fighter who is. I mean,
maybe you don't, but I do in my head. If someone tells me Brian Kelleher, I remember that dude. So I'm interested to see what happens to him.
I remember who these guys are because I live, breathe, and eat fighting. I know who Brian Kelleher is.
So for you and I, the people who enjoy fighting, when we watch these fights, they were fun.
Well, I mean,
it's the only point I'm making.
No, I mean, I enjoy watching top talent in the sport. Just because I know who these guys are doesn't mean I would take at the same level.
But for a random card in the middle of the afternoon, this is a good level of talent. I think. You talk about in the main event of this fight, we have Cowboy against Darren Till, man. Now the rest of it's a little weak, sure, but Marcin Held was supposed to be somebody, and Andre Fili was supposed to be somebody. Artem Lobov's the name,
but
Wally Alvarez is ranked.
No, he's not.
Oh, he should be.
No, he was on a 2-fight skid before going to a decision with somebody.
Yeah, he's a pretty good fighter though.
Yeah, I mean, he did tap out Colby Covington, who's ranked number 7, so I see where you're coming from, but he also lost 2 in a row. So, anyways, enough with shitting on the card or not shitting on the card and defending it. Let's talk about the main event.
Okay.
Main event, Darren Till finishes Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Surprising for me, surprising for you, we both picked Cowboy. And Darren Till goes out there, dominates the striking early, and for about the first 4 minutes, 20 seconds, I think it was, 4 minutes 20 seconds is what it was, and Till just lands a number of was it lefts or right? I forget.
I think he was landing the left, but yeah, the shocking part of this story here isn't that that Cowboy lost. It's that Darren Till just straight up put it on him. He absolutely lit up Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy looked lost. Cowboy looked like he didn't have, he never got into first gear. He never got his offense going at all. And then when it went downhill, Darren Till seemed to kick it into another gear and really poured it on him at the exact right time. This might be kind of where we see, a downwards, you'll point back to this fight as something like, hey, this is when we should have told Cowboy to stop. Because you get the feeling that Cowboy Cerrone is a dude who would continue to lose fights in the UFC basically as long as the UFC will give him fights.
Yeah, it's sort of the sad story, as you said. I mean,
and if he's going to fight at 170 pounds like this, there are monsters up here, and Darren Till is a monster. So it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have made the case that Darren Till is a monster before this fight, but now.
He emerged as one, right? This is the fighter stepping up to the plate in one of the best ways. Oh, you know what it oddly reminded me of was when TJ Dillashaw beat up Renan Barão. Just because it was kind of out of nowhere, this fighter who was like, hey, we'd always seen him do dope things, but then just step up in a new way and emerge as the next level fighter.
You're right. It's a good comparison, but I think it's even more drastic because Cowboy was a known commodity. He's been a fan favorite forever. He's been the WEC champion. He's fought for the UFC title. He's been there. Darren Till nobody knew who Darren Till was, if we're being honest. I mean, besides us and extremely hardcore fans, going on Friday up until the fight, I didn't even think I said on this show last week, a week ago, 7 days, that I didn't even think Darren Till was all that great.
Well, remember, this is your bias, man. This is your bias talking about these cards being bad in Europe, because he's been a product of UFC in Europe. He's just beat up everyone there and looked really good doing it. There've been some tough guys, but
I don't think it's that
much that he was going to emerge. But yeah, you're right. It was absolutely shocking. Let's not. I don't mean to sugarcoat it. Yeah, this is
I don't think there's much bias there. I mean, I guess there could be if we really want to argue, but it's just the fact that this is a guy who just went to decision with Bojan Vličković. Who? I mean, and then before that, he went to a decision with Jason Ayari. I mean, you go from a few months ago decisioning Ayari and not even looking fantastic to knocking out one of the better, a very great fighter in Cowboy Cerrone, or once a very great fighter up until, this year, you could say. We haven't really seen the physical decline from Cowboy. It's just mind-boggling. Like, there was no hints that Darren Till, there was always hints that Darren Till could be something great. He's undefeated. He talks well. He always says, I'm the greatest fighter on the planet today. Believe it, blah, blah, blah. But his performances weren't that inspiring. His performances weren't like Conor McGregor's early fights, where he steamrolls a guy in the first round and is able to call his shots because of his performances. His performances were good, but not great. He went to a draw with Nicholas Dalby. Didn't he get 10-8'd in that third round? I mean, that was 2 years ago, as of today, actually. But, I mean, he hasn't been the most active. And as I said, last month, he couldn't finish Bojan Vličković, and now he just knocked out a top number 6 welterweight in the world. It makes no sense to me. It's just one of those rare occasions where it's a good matchup, because did Darren Till improve by a landslide from October to now, or from early September, I should say? No, he didn't. He's mostly the same fighter. Maybe a little.
But I mean, maybe you're underestimating, just like the toughness of Bojan. Like, you got to matchups make fights here too.
What I was.
What if this is all? Are you claiming this is all an ultimate sham, and that Cowboys just completely deteriorated, and everyone's overrating Till, or do you actually think Till has improved by leaps and bounds?
I think Till must have, and I just didn't notice. But I'm not sure if he's even improved leaps and bounds. I think it was just more a great style matchup in hindsight. Of course, I can say this all I want. I'm still eating crow. I picked Cowboy. I thought he would finish Till, but Till was bigger than Cowboy. He puts the pressure. He didn't give Cowboy space. He's the better striker. Again, something I wasn't really sure of and kind of thought the other way. But in hindsight, this was a great style matchup for Till. This is a guy who beats Cowboy. Get in his face, pressure him, land shots, be a good striker, and ultimately you're going to be able to knock him out. Look at the Jorge Masvidal fight. RDA, the title fight in December 2015. Those are the types of guys that are able to beat down Cowboy, and this was a good style match. But I also have to admit, maybe Bojan Vličković was just a bit tougher that day, and same with Jason Ayari.
I think of looking at this fight really as just a changing of the guard. Look at just the ages. Like, the other guys he's fighting are young dudes that can kind of, take more of a beating. This is a changing of the guard at this, weight class. It's the younger generation, coming up and just, being younger, tougher, especially in a USADA era where, you can't really get that youth in a bottle so as easy as you used to be able to. You're going to see younger fighters take over the division. That's going to be just a constant throughout. A 28, or what is Darren Till? He's even younger than that.
24.
20. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. He's only going to get, better, stronger, tougher, faster. 24-year-old dudes should beat up 35-year-old dudes. That's just how genetics work. That's just how aging works.
And this was really good for the UFC. Cowboy was never going to fight for the title again. He was never going to get any higher than number 6. He was already on a 2-fight skid.
If Darren Till becomes something, yes. And also, I think you have to start watching Cowboy, preserving him. He's got to go on like the shelf for 9 months, even though he won't like it. if he's going to fight again, like long rest, give that brain some time to heal, and let's hope he isn't.
This is when you start after really contemplating retirement. I fear for Cowboy because I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. Just before this fight, he said he has 5 more years. I don't think he'll last 5 more years. I think it'll be very far from that. Because of this loss precisely, but you got to watch this guy. I don't want him to end up like Bigfoot, once the title challenger, once one of the greats, and now a guy who's just fighting for the money, who's getting knocked out left and right. I mean, Bigfoot, it's not super healthy for him to fight because of his gigantism condition, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, Cowboy is a guy who he doesn't have a great chin anymore, it seems. He's not super durable, and I do envision all these, super huge killers that are 23 years old just knocking his head off, say, 5 years down the road. I don't want that to happen. That's sad. That doesn't make any sense. So they have to keep their eye on Cowboy. He should not be fighting 5 times in 2018.
It's the crazy thing that I just thought about. Years ago, they were talking about having Cowboy Cerrone fight Kelvin Gastelum, which at this point seems just irresponsible. But it's not the age.
That was a year ago, even. That
wasn't that long. But it's not the age. You really got to look at like what were the terrific beatings that you took that just looked brutal, right? And if you go back and think about it, there's probably been about 4 for him. RDA starched him bad. The Jorge Masvidal, that is a bad beating that you take. Like, that is a career altering beating. Robbie Lawler fight, there's a lot of damage accumulated from that one, I'd say, as well. And then this one, Darren Till. So, you're up to 4. I don't know how many you have as a professional fighter. I don't know how many fights you can take, like just full KOs and, follow up and ground and pound or just an endured beating of getting, knocked down, wobbled and hurt and, taking extra blows after that. So,
luckily for Cowboy, he still has the skills to be a top 15 fighter.
Don't go away.
And he's not a heavyweight, unlike Bigfoot, where Bigfoot, he can be a more skilled guy, but just get cracked once by some, Joe Blow from the street and get knocked out because he can't take a shot. Cowboy Cerrone is not going to get knocked out by a nobody, but I think the physical decline for Cowboy was going to start around this time anyways, but I think the 2 knockout losses and one decision loss to Lawler, who's of course, hits really hard and dishes out.
This is how it is in MMA. These are how people are sent to retirement. You get knocked out.
The finish losses this year, in this calendar year, have sped the process of Cowboy's decline up really, really fast, I think.
And you know what? He could turn it around for sure, but all I'm saying is you got to be on the lookout and watch his next matchmaking if you're anyone in Cowboys camp or a fan of Cowboys at all.
I think a fight I thought about over a few days ago that I think makes sense. Cowboy versus Alan Joban.
9 months later. In 9 months? Can we do it in 9 months?
Sure. Cowboy versus Alan Joban. Ask Joban if he's good. I think that's a good fight.
Joban could take a modeling gig while he waits.
Sure. I mean, he just got knocked out too. So
everyone's on a rest.
I think it's a good fight, but that's the type of fighter you need to give Cowboy to really see where he's at. Darren Till might be the future. Alan Joban's not. Alan Joban's not even top 15. If Cowboy comes up short there, then you really have to start thinking, okay, it's probably time to hang them up. If he gets past them, maybe he turns it around. I mean, but
Cowboy's such a name, and I think Alan Joban's an amazing B-side to it. So that can easily headline a card, a fight night somewhere. That's fantastic.
I think the proof here is that Cowboy was on a 9-10 fight winning streak from 2013 to 2015, or it might have been just 2014 and 2015. Then he meets RDA, then he goes 4-0 at welterweight, and now he's on 3-fight skid. Has he ever been on 3-fight skid? Probably not. I mean, that's the sign when you're going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else for this card? I
know. No, now I'm thoroughly depressed. We started out talking about how much I like this card, and now we're talking about how Cowboy Cerrone, we're shipping him off to pasture. But yeah, let's move on.
Let's talk about Gegard Mousasi's his Bellator MMA debut. Bellator 185. He took on Alexander Shlemenko. And somewhat surprisingly, this was a pretty close fight. Some people scored it for Shlemenko. The judges ultimately gave it to Mousasi by decision. He won 29-28. I forget if it was unanimous or split, but it doesn't really matter.
Unanimous decision.
I think the judges did get it right. I had Mousasi winning rounds
one and two.
Yeah, 1 and 2, and then Shlemenko 3. The sort of tipping point, the close round was number 2, where Shlemenko was doing pretty well on the feet early, but Mousasi controlled him for about the better half of the second round. Close fight, surprising. How surprised were you that this wasn't Mousasi by domination like a lot of us expected?
Yeah, well, it all revolved around that eye. That was a weird fight. I don't know. I'm kind of impressed by Mousasi in this kind of fight. Like, if that happens to you, you're supposed to be knocked out, and you're supposed to not be able to continue your fight. You lost your, but somehow he muscled in. He used wrestling, which was smart because he probably only had one fucking eye. So I can't help but admire him for gutting out the victory and making it happen after, something, kind of went wrong in the whole plan. So, yeah, I wish this had been highlight Mousasi. I wish he had been able to do something that was just awesome and really solidified him and gave them a highlight package to really sell the title fight. But c'est la vie, it's Bellator. Shit's gonna go wrong.
Yes, the eye, as you said, I guess how critical was that? I mean, his eye was completely shut. Some people were
massively critical. I think it went from him being able to implement whatever his striking plan was to him having to say I have to wrestle, because you lose depth perception if you only have one eye.
Sure, yeah.
You can't strike in 3 dimensions.
Was that Mousasi at 50%? I mean, it's hard to put a number on it, but I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, that was only Mousasi at 50%." Let's see, what he looks like in his next fight.
I'd say 50% because he had 50% of his eyes functioning. That's probably why.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, nonetheless, you can't argue that he wasn't affected. He was affected and badly. I mean, his eye was.
Let's be real. Pride scoring. Who do you give it to?
I have no idea. I'd have to think about that.
I don't know. I give it to Shlemenko. Pride scoring is just you just judge the fight. You're just
yeah, I know.
Who would you rather be? Who would you rather be walking away from this fight? Just physically.
Probably Mousasi. Or physically, then I wouldn't want to.
Which person would you have rather been in the fight?
That's Mousasi.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I would have not have rather had my eye broken.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, who won or versus who won?
Yeah, I'm sorry. When a guy breaks your eye, I'm always like, yeah, he kind of won the fight. He broke your face. Now you have months and months of reconstructive, surgery to do. That sucks. He doesn't.
Yeah, with MMA scoring, it is weird that you can walk away by far the bloodier fighter and still clearly win the fight, and that's okay. It's understandable.
I don't mind bloodier fighters because some people get a cut and it might even be from a headbutt, catch an elbow, but you fuck some other dude up. I don't know. It's weird. It's not. But anyway, I don't want to talk about George St. Pierre and how he looked after Johnny Hendricks beat the crap out of him. Yeah. So, are you okay? So you were not excited. You were not excited about this card over in Poland. Are you excited for Sao Paulo?
Well, is there enough meme value? More things from Mousasi before we get to Sao Paulo this weekend.
Okay.
There's an interesting angle that people are talking about. It seems like a trend when UFC fighters go to Bellator. Not a lot of them are doing fantastic. Look at Phil Davis. That's not a good example. Phil Davis did really well and then lost to another UFC fighter, Ryan Bader. But Lorenz Larkin, 0-2, losses to Douglas Lima and Paul Daly. Top guys, but he still lost and wasn't expected to do so. Benson Henderson, probably the best example. And now, Mousasi, he won, but barely. Some people had for Shlemenko, could have gone either way. We see this trend of high-level UFC fighters losing or not performing up to expectations in Bellator. Is that just coincidence, do you think? Or does that have something to do with them in their mind thinking, oh, I was in the UFC, I'm so much better than whoever I'm fighting in Bellator, and them looking past their opponents?
No, brother, you're overthinking it. It's really Yeah, it's just shocker, right? It really is just that Bellator fighters are actually good. You know, people want to poo-poo them because they don't have the UFC brand attached to them, but no, Scott Coker gets really good fighters, especially a fighter like Shlemenko's a beast. Shlemenko's a fucking animal. Everyone wants to shit on him because he lost to Tito Ortiz, and that sucked. But Tito Ortiz was also like 35 pounds bigger than him, gone on his back and just choked him the fuck out. That's tough. You know, what the hell, guys? Like, Shlemenko's been undefeated for, what, 18 fights before that? Some shit like that? He had a crazy streak. You know, he's beating people up in Russia when he's not beating people up in Bellator. You know, so he's a really good fighter who probably just didn't get his due. And he can put, a hammer on your fucking fist and break your face. And that's what he did to Mousasi. But, you know, Mousasi was just too sweet and sassy to let it take him down, you know? I thought this was a really good fight for Bellator. I thought this worked out probably the best way it could.
No. I mean, the ideal Mousasi finishes him quick.
Was a Mousasi KO after that would have been beautiful, but, you know, what are you going to say?
This was still good. They wanted Mousasi to win.
I'm saying this is the best thing that could have happened if Shlemenko went out there and broke. If I told you, like, hey, this free agent that you're about to sign, then his first fight, someone's going to walk up to him and just crack him in the face and break it. They would be like, oh shit, like this is going to be terrible. But then I'm like, this is what ends up happening. They'd be like, at least it worked out. At least he got the W, you know, had some heat around this. You know, there's some story afterwards. Sassy's telling people to suck his dick on the MMA hour. Fantastic stuff.
I think the one bad thing, I mean, it's not terrible that he didn't finish Shlemenko. He still won, and that's really all that matters. But the only one negative and not ideal thing is that there was some criticism that, Shlemenko should have won this fight, which I ultimately disagree with. But there are people out there that scored it for Shlemenko that really were not impressed with Mousasi. And I think the fan criticism doesn't necessarily help, although we're also in a sport where we have a lot of idiots on Twitter that say whatever they want. And you can't necessarily look too much into that. But I think that's the sort of one bad thing. If you're talking promotional standpoint, what's ideal, what's not, I don't think it being a iffy decision helps. But nonetheless, Mousasi gets the W. They're happy about that, I'm sure. And he'll be fighting the winner of Sakara and Carvalho, hopefully sooner than later. Let's talk about UFC Sao Paulo. UFC Fight Night 119 going down from Sao Paulo, Brazil this weekend.
What's the most interesting thing happening on this card, Nicholas? There's only one answer, go.
Who, John Lineker?
God damn it, you fucked it up. No, the return of the Machida.
Well, I was going to say that, but you seem like a guy who just goes out of left field and loves John Lineker. So
it was too straightforward for you. No, you have to give your props. Sure, you have to bow your head to the Dragon, Lyoto Machida. 2 years because he took like some shit you can get at GNC. Probably the highest profile victim of the USADA witch hunt.
Are we? I don't know, maybe.
John Jones. Did I totally forget about John Jones?
Not quite.
But I mean, John Jones actually probably did steroids. Lyoto Machida did like some, like genuinely like some herbal remedy shit.
He drank his own pee and.
That's against USADA regulations. That's fantastic.
So he is returning.
But things have been sad. Back. Things have been sad in the world of Lyoto Machida before that. You know, things weren't going well.
No.
Yeah, Yoel Romero fucked him up badly.
That was his last fight, wasn't it?
That was scary. Yeah. It's been 2 years or something. Yeah, because he got a 2-year suspension for the
late June 2015. It's been a year and a half, or 2 years and a half, and thanks to USADA, he was supposed to fight. Remember, he was supposed to fight Dan Hendo, and then like the 2 days before, that got pulled.
Which, by the way, would have been a great fight in a fight that I would love to see right now.
Well, actually, it wouldn't have been that good of a fight, but
come on, it's good. Legends fighting each other, you know.
Yeah. So Derek Brunson is his opponent. Not a tough. I'm a little surprised that they're giving him someone like Derek Brunson. I mean, Machida.
I think after they saw Brunson versus Anderson Silva, they were like, he's the perfect guy to go fight.
He's the guy who should knock out Machida, but nope, he's going to shit the bed and lose a decision.
Just pawn him for 3 rounds and lose a lackluster decision.
instead of just going all out and thinking Brunson steamrolls Machida, you do have that Anderson fight in the back of your mind, and you think, I mean, there's two sides of Derek Brunson. If we're getting right into the fight, there's two sides. I mean, the Brunson that KO'd Dan Kelly a couple months ago, and the Brunson that lost to Anderson Silva, and he should have won. I scored the fight for Brunson. Almost everybody.
How dare you bring up the fact that he beat the shit out of Judo Dan Kelly? That's just rude of you, good sir.
It was the first knockout win I could think of because it was the most recent. But Brunson can show up and he can't. He can come, show up with the knockout power, guns a-blazing, and then he shows up a little tentative like he did against Anderson. And if that's the one that shows up, Machida has a good chance here. If it's Brunson that has a chip on his shoulder and is looking to knock anybody out, he might, get another knockout. That's sort of how I like this fight.
I don't. You know what? Like, Derek Brunson really has only lost to extremely good fighters. If you just look at the losses on his record, it's Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero, Jacare Souza, and I don't know. Somehow, like, Kendall Grove got thrown in there too. But anyway, that's there's always an anomaly in these things. But yeah, you got to think he's looking to kind of, but you could throw a late year Lyoto Machida in on that. He does stick his chin up high. Lyoto can hit a target, man. He's got that karate bounce in, bounce out style. I think that's going to frustrate Brunson a lot. I think this is going to end up being a really good main event, man. I'm at least very interested in it.
Oh, I don't know if it'll be a fantastic fight. I'm not expecting fight of the year like I do every other week, but I think it's definitely one to keep your eye on. I think it could entertain, particularly if it goes Brunson's way. If we see Machida defeats Brunson, just expect a more boring fight. If it's Brunson defeat Machida, you'll probably read via knockout right after that. That's probably what you're gonna get. I am worried about the
5 rounds.
What's that?
Especially after 5 rounds. Yeah, you got to be worried about the layoff, but I don't know. Like, Machida's style to me never is like he could just be too old to do it too.
Yeah, so I mean, 2.5 years out. You saw the suspension. I don't know how much. I don't think that really plays a factor because it's not like he was on anabolics, but nonetheless, you mention it. It happened, and
he's still almost 40.
And he's old, and he just got the crap beaten out of him in his last fight. 2 fights. Luke Rockhold demolished him. Yoel Romero even more. So
elbows in the back of the head. Luke Rockhold was like fucking him up on the ground. That was one of the more savage things I've ever seen. Period. I think I saw that live. That's scarring.
Newark.
Scarring stuff.
Yeah, that was not a good fight, nor was Romero. I got to go Brunson. The pick is Brunson. Solely because, well, there's many reasons. I think I don't really know stylistically. I think stylistically Machida has a chance. I think he could make it look like the Anderson fight, stay back, outpoint Brunson if Brunson is tentative and for whatever reason a little worried about what Machida might bring to the table. I don't think he's going to be as worried because Machida's not going to like kick a front kick out of nowhere and knock him out like Anderson did Vitor Belfort. I mean, he could.
Machida did that to Randy Couture.
I know. I didn't think about that before I said it, but
he definitely throws kicks. He's definitely a fighter that throws kicks. He beat John Jones for 1 round of their fight. He won the first round against John Jones, dude.
But I think a random Anderson
frustrating fighter.
I think a flash knockout is more likely from Anderson than Machida.
Different paths. Who knows?
Right, whatever.
Lyoto could definitely do it. It's possible. Don't doubt.
Okay. Nonetheless,
I'm picking Lyoto. You're picking Brunson.
I'm going Brunson because layoff. You
want to talk about what the people came here to talk about?
Et cetera, et cetera. Brunson is my pick. 2nd round. I think his wrestling advantage, that's something I never mentioned. His wrestling advantage is key in this fight. Like Yoel Romero, he's not as strong, but he'll be able to get Lyoto down, I think. And I like him to get a 2nd round TKO on the mat. Ground and pound.
Ryan Bader couldn't get Lyoto Machida down. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's talk about what the people came here to talk about. And that's the man himself, John Lineker. Hands stone. Chin of stone.
Bit of a weird fight. He's fighting Marlon Chito Vera.
Is this a replacement? Was there someone supposed to?
No.
This is scheduled.
Lineker came out with a interview recently that I think is already up on Bloody Elbow. If not, it will be up very soon, saying that everybody turned him down. Like, nobody wanted to fight Lineker. And I'm not surprised. I don't blame whoever turned him down. So that makes sense. That sort of leads us to this fight, and why he's fighting a lesser opponent in Marlon Chito Vera. I don't see this being all that competitive. Chito is bigger than Lineker by quite a bit, I would imagine. Reach, 3 inches, height, 5, much bigger, but I don't think that matters. He's just not nearly as good as Lineker. Lineker hits hard. He gets in there. He's aggressive. He can actually, he does have a few submissions as well. Chito is underrated.
Very underrated.
He's very underrated. The Brian Kelleher win, Brad Pickett. He's been the underdog back to back, maybe even 3 in a row, and he's won. He's doing really well, and he's turning into a pretty good fighter. Training at Team Uyama in California has done wonders for him, but he's also going up against now the number 5 and maybe should be higher bantamweight in the world. I don't think it's going to go all too well. Give me John Lineker.
Yeah, John Lineker, I'm just scared. The problem is no one in that weight class has yet to land punches that he finds consequential. There's a blueprint to beat John Lineker, but you have to have that skill set, and I'm not sure that Chito Vera to me screams like, top-level wrestling that can neutralize and hold top position on this little furious, guy winging punches. So, of course, we want to see that. I'm sorry, but I really like Chito Vera, and I really think he's a really good fighter. I don't know, probably in the top 30 at 135 pounds. But you're there to get knocked out by John Lineker, dude. I'm here to see some crazy shit. I just want to see the little dude just winging those hooks, and let's have a firefight. Please to God, let's have a firefight.
I think this might be fun.
Don't TJ Dillashaw neutralize him. Let's just let John Lineker live, throwing them bombs.
Yeah, I think this will be fun. I think Chito's the type of fighter who will be the good B-side to Lineker, who will let him beat him up, but also have a good fight. I think Chito's going to be in there for a little bit. I don't think it'll be one punch and done, but I think it's going to be fun. Co-main event.
By the way, you mentioned that Chito moved to Team Alliance. I thought he was with Jackson Wink. Yama.
Yama.
Did he move?
Yeah, he was living in Ecuador, and then in 2016 he moved full time to Cali.
Okay.
Co-main event time. Damian Maia, former welterweight title challenger, one of the best at 170, is taking on the rowdy up-and-comer in Colby Covington. This is interesting. I mean, Covington's a great wrestler. Maia's the best grappler in MMA on the planet, and I mean, who can beat him or who can pass him in that? I'm not sure anybody. Maia is the underdog, ever so slightly. Maia is plus money. I mean, I gotta say, hop on that. Colby Covington, he's good, but is he top 3 caliber? Is he a guy who's gonna upset or not even upset, but beat Damian Maia in this day? I mean, right now, I don't think so. I mean, he's good. He can grind out Dong Han Kim, but does that mean he's going to somehow outpoint Damian Maia and neutralize Maia's takedowns and his grappling? I mean, come on. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't see how Covington can win this fight. He's not real. I mean, maybe he outpoints him on the feet because they're both bad on the feet. Maybe if he takes Maia down, he's never going to be on top of Maia for long, I don't think. What I mean, am I crazy, or is this a bit weird?
I don't know. He's going to have a lot of confidence in his wrestling and his stand-up. This could get awkward, but I cannot understand not taking a stab at some plus money for Damian Maia here. He's just too much of a veteran. He comes through in these type of fights too many times. I think that no matter how this goes down, there'll be a grappling portion of the fight. And as much as I know, and actually my worry is that Colby Covington's probably confident in his grappling, as he should be. But the problem is you're not on the Damian Maia level of grappling, and that's where you're going to get into some quicksand that you can't escape from. And Damian Maia gets on your back. It's a rap game, We've seen this story before, so I have some weird good feeling about Colby Covington, and I'm getting into this idea of the changing of the guard. Everyone's kind of, this next younger generation's replacing people. especially in 170 pounds. I'm really, someone else was arguing that too, and I was like, holy shit, like, yeah, this is the moment where there's going to be a lot of turnover. So I wouldn't be shocked if Colby Covington did do it, but the fact that he's the favorite to me is ridiculous and doesn't respect the veteran savvy of Maia. Maia's just an animal, man.
Yeah, I think Maia Darren Till was favored against Cerrone.
Yeah, almost.
Like, why the hell would that be? I mean, I know in hindsight, sure, he won, but there was no reason beforehand for him to be favored. And really, I don't see how he can be favored. I mean, Covington's best. I mean, he's confident, and that's what he has going into this fight. He has confidence for days, and he thinks he's the best fighter and can beat anybody. But I think he might be in.
Well, also, he trains at ATT. He probably is constantly sparring, constantly, getting looks from the best and most elite fighters in the world, and he probably does well against them. So he feels like, hey, what the fuck? Why am I not one of those fighters?
This is the story, though. For a lot of my opponents, they don't necessarily know what they're getting themselves into until they get themselves into an armbar or something of the like.
My deepest, darkest hope is that we could see Damian Maia by rear naked choke or neck cranks, because I always just remember how he squeezed Rick Story's head so fucking hard that blood gushed out of his nose, and that was one of my favorite moments in MMA history. And I know that makes me a bad person, but I'm willing to cop to that. Yeah. You all should admit these things yourself. You like the violence, enjoy it. Every time when I saw that, I was like, this is like my head exploded.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm gonna watch this right after we're done this show.
Oh my god, you have to. Yeah, dude, it will not be hard to find. Yeah, Rick Story against Damian Maia. It might have been like a weird fight night or Fight Pass card.
Right. This is a good card. UFC Sao Paulo delivers. We have Pedro Munoz, Rob Font on it. Trinaldo and Miller. That's a fun fight. And Thiago Santos Hermanson's on it. Luque Pico or Price on.
Dude, is Francisco Trinaldo coming back from a steroid suspension? This is like the return of like Brazilian.
No. He's not. He wasn't busted. You're thinking of Gleison Tibau.
Oh, I am. I'm confusing Brazilians. My bad.
They look pretty similar.
Sorry, Massaranduba. My bad, Massaranduba.
Trinaldo just got choked out by Kevin Lee. That was what happened last.
God damn it. Hey, the Monkey King's on this card, too. There's a lot of good little gems on this card.
But close.
Yeah. The Monkey King is an actual thing. The Monkey God's a better fighting nickname.
Yeah. That's actually where he got it from.
Of course. Of course.
Just in case you weren't sure. So ultimately, good card, Max Griffin, Jared Gordon versus Hakan Diaz, but running out of time. Any other fight you want to mention? Trinaldo probably beats Miller, Santos over Hermanson, Munoz Font close. I think we covered it all pretty much.
Undefeated prospect Nico Price.
Yeah, that's a fun fight. That could be fight of the night. I know I say that all the time, but
fight of the year, fight of the century. Fight of the decade. It'll be a good time. I'll have fun. You won't. You'll complain about it as soon as it starts.
This fight sucks. We haven't seen a knockout in 13 seconds.
All right. You ready for Gets It, Doesn't Get It?
Yes, sir. Right, who's up first?
All right. No, real quick. If you've never watched the show, Gets It, Doesn't Get It. We name a topic, and I ask Nick if that person got it this week in MMA or if they did not get it. It's a very obvious self-premise. So, first up, Ben Folks writing the article on Perry Till and dropping Ponzinibbio out of the picture, or suggesting to do this. Does that get it, or does that not get it?
I'm surprised not as many people have mentioned anything about this. I mean, come on, Ben Folks. I mean, this is a big doesn't get it here. I read the article, and I kind of disagree with it completely.
Okay, I'm on the opposite side of this. Continue.
Okay, so Ben Folks is talking about, and this is, I mean, it makes sense because of what happened. Darren Till, Mike Perry, they go together, the cage is separating them, great promo, all of that. The fight's good, but we also have Perry versus Ponzinibbio. I'm biased because it's in Winnipeg, but that's a hell of a fight. That's a fantastic fight.
Hold on, so you put this on here just so you could bitch about the potential of losing your fight? That is hilarious to me. That is hilarious to me, good sir. If you are any good at MMA promotion, you instantly kill this Ponzinibbio fight and you make Perry versus Till.
No.
This is it's just a gift from the MMA gods. People are interested in this fight. No one gives a fuck about Ponzinibbio against Perry. But you're not going to cancel that fight. You can't do that to Ponzinibbio. It's like breaking a legal contract. They could pay him a bunch of money.
Ben called Ponzinibbio Perry a head scratcher, yet a week before, the MMA community is going nuts. We're salivating over this fight. This is
not quite nuts. We were very interested in it. The hardcores liked the idea of those two throwing leather.
Yeah.
But now we realize that Ponzi scheme could win, and we don't want him to win because that'll ruin Perry Till.
Who cares? Ponzinibbio Perry is a much better fight than Perry Till. That's my personal opinion. I don't care about the beef. You shouldn't care about what
Moving on.
Moving on.
Now the beef is fantastic. All right, so next.
No, hold on. Ponzinibbio is going to ruin everything, and it's going to be fantastic.
You're a lost soul. Fans who clicked McGregor. Oh, come on.
Read it. Come on. We're running out of time.
Fans who click Conor McGregor saying the homophobic slur. He's referring, of course, to the article that everyone put out that was a clip of Conor McGregor saying a homophobic slur after the Artem Lobov fight. But he's saying fans who say, who cares? Do they get it or do they not get it? Nicholas, go ahead. Tell us what you think of these fans who click on your articles and say, who cares? God, I can't let you write any more of these. You're terrible.
My thing here is it's fantastic. Thank you all for clicking on it. It's great. It was all of that. But it's hilarious to me. I got hundreds of replies to this article saying, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Nick Baldwin, you suck. Nick Baldwin, you're a faggot. Blah, 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 blah. Yet everyone's clicking. They're all saying, who cares? It's so ironic. They're saying no one cares. I don't care. Yet they're reading it. They're clicking on it. It's the most clicked article of 2 days ago. It's fantastic. It's great. All
right.
But you guys don't get it.
All right. All I'm saying is that you're wearing a Freddy Krueger sweater. Next, the UFC for not giving Kamaru Usman a top 15 opponent. Gets it, doesn't get it.
I have no idea what a Freddy Krueger sweater means, but
just keep going.
What was that? Who is it?
That's a Nightmare on Elm Street reference, my good man. Anyway, continue.
Oh, UFC for not giving Kamaru Usman a top 15 opponent. So the context here is he is set to fight Emil Meek coming up at, I think it's 219 in December. Could be wrong, but it's a good fight. But Usman deserves a lot better. I mean, come on, UFC. The guy's on a tear. He won the Ultimate Fighter. He's one of the best in the world. Yet he's getting Emil Meek. Doesn't.
So do they get it? Okay, doesn't get it. I'd say they get it. Look at the matchups in the top 15. Look at the opponents. Everyone's scheduled up. Everyone's partnered up. So he's either got to wait 6 months and not get fed, or he could just take an easy win over someone, or what he thinks is an easy win, against a guy with a decent name. Darren Till's
not booked anymore.
Well, Darren Till is also probably on medical suspension for a little bit. The guy needs a payday. He needs, he's a fighter who's on track to fight 4 times a year, 3 times a year. You can't wait for a fighter who just fought. You got to get your fight in and then fight that guy. So anyway, I said they actually get it if you look deeper into it. Gets it, doesn't get it. Cowboy Cerrone for being humble in defeat and congratulating Till. Oh, he gets it, doesn't he, Nicholas?
Yes, this is the first gets it.
He gets it. Oh,
Cowboy
that's such a good thing.
Post congratulating Till and saying.
Of course, he's always kind of been off class, like and stuff like that. I remember him losing to Anthony Pettis and being, very, very humble in defeat.
And I think
underrated skill from Cowboy.
What really stood out is he said, "No, I didn't overlook Till or anything. He just was a better man." And yeah, Cowboy gets it for sure.
Yeah. He's always out there making the right points. Mark Goddard for how he handled the whole Conor McGregor situation. If you didn't know, during the Artem Lobov fight, of course, Conor McGregor is circling the cage. He's literally leaving the corner where his seat is, circling the cage to go over to where the action is and yelling instructions to Artem Lobov from there. And of course, that's completely illegal. There's a set amount of cornermen by the commission. They are to stay in their corner. They're not allowed to leave. They're allowed to shout instructions. They kind of give Conor a courtesy by allowing him to be cage side and scream and holler from his seat as much as he does. But he just took it way out of control. Mark Goddard stopped the fight mid-round. That was the most interesting part, is he stopped it mid-round and said, hey, Connor, you got to behave. Get the fuck out of here.
I know you're a millionaire and much higher than that. I know you think you're a god, but this was fantastic. This is what makes Mark Goddard one of the best refs in the game, is that he is willing to stand up, and he had every right to do this, by the way. And no one stands up to the millionaire, the guy, the golden boy, the guy that's making the UFC millions. No one. Not even Dana White, but Mark Goddard.
I also like how he did it, too. He didn't make it like a big fucking show. He just walked up to me and goes, have you lost your fucking mind, mate? He's like, go to your seat right now. And then in between rounds, he told security, he's like, you're to escort him out. Like, you fucking lost it. And that's the right way to handle it. You know, he didn't make a show or a scene out of it, but like Connor was clearly being out of line and just needed to be put into check a little bit. It's like, this is a competition. There's rules. You're not exempt.
Mark Goddard needs to live with Conor McGregor and follow him everywhere, because McGregor goes out of line all the time. Mark Goddard needs to be there. Connor, sit down.
Don't take that ecstasy. Yeah. Do less cocaine. There's cameras everywhere around here.
Don't say faggot. That doesn't help either.
All right. Gets it, doesn't get it. Sam Alvey for admitting that his weight cut was shitty and was humble in defeat.
You're gonna hate me because all of mine are related to my interviews and my articles and all of that. And
you just keep plugging yourself. Yeah, it's so amazing. But it's so amazing.
So I talked to Sam Alvey just the day before the fight. Of course, it was a really bad fight. But he talked about he was really honest when it came down to the weight cut. He knew it'd be terrible. He said it was his biggest career regret, not making weight, how he felt embarrassed, and he was surprised how Twitter and social media actually supported him. He thought they would trash him for not making weight. He was really honest. Go check it out. Cheap plug there again. But ultimately, I think Small and Sam really does get it in that interview.
Of course he gets it.
You didn't read it, but...
No, I'm not reading your interview. Get the hell out of here. All right, last one. MVP. Michael Venom Page's boxing debut. And just Michael Venom Page boxing in general. Gets it, doesn't get it.
I don't know. I threw this one. I'm not totally sure on a firm side. I threw this in just because I think it's worth mentioning briefly. But I think he ultimately gets it because he wasn't having quite great performances in Bellator. He met Fernando Gonzalez.
Stop immediately. No more boxing. This is stupid. Yeah, we get that you clowned on some.
He hasn't fought for a little while. He needs a highlight. People need to remember who MVP is and the danger that comes along with it.
Gets it. Maybe he gets it. You're for a rare time. You might be convincing me, but ultimately, I'm scared that it's going to become an obsession. Michael Venom Page is not interested in fighting anyone of consequence. That's the honest truth. So let's make that Paul Daly fight happen. Please God in heaven, because that's the only thing we actually want to see. Yep. And it's the biggest thing Bellator could do. Out of everything that's happened, somehow MVP against goddamn Paul Daly is the most exciting fight that they could do. So fucking deliver. None of this boxing shit. Doesn't get it.
All right. Dumb questions.
All right. Dumb questions. Dumb questions. Oh. That's a weak song. Sorry, I didn't get my heart.
Before that, I was going to add in Liam Hughes threw in his own gets it, doesn't get it. It's on the YouTube chat. Liam says Andrew doesn't get it for thinking he looks like Jesus. He says Nick gets it for his new show. He's referring to Beyond Combat, which launched last week. He says Liam doesn't get it for forgetting to remind Nick about last week's tournament. Dumb question. So that's something we all forgot about. Remember the
totally forgot about the tournament of
for fighters from fighters. Liam, remind us next week. We will do it.
We probably won't.
We will. But that's it from Liam. Let's move on to dumb questions.
All right, dumb questions. We got one dumb question today only. Which
dumb question.
Yeah, which is a relief. It's from Mookie Alexander. Y'all know Mookie. He runs editor of Bloody Elbow. You can find him on Twitter at Mookie Alexander. He says, what would happen if George St. Pierre makes the Michael Bisping fight extremely boring? Dumb questions.
Canada's great again.
Not only like what we should prepare ourselves for when this will happen, because this is going to be terrible. This main event is going to leave. People are going to leave like round 4. And people do that in New York. They're just like, it's same fun anymore. I'm out.
I mean, I'm sure they're pouring out during home Durandamy.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was really bad. That card was really bad. I went and saw it live. It was. Depressing. You
were leaving 4th round of everything.
I apologized to people like after the fight. I was like, guys, yeah, I'm really sorry that this night went like this. But yeah,
Hilarious.
sometimes I apologize on behalf of the sport. Like I felt like obligated to show them a good time.
That's like a tweet from Just Bleed MMA I saw last night. He was talking about when he had everybody over for Brock Lesnar Kane from like years ago, and he was a huge Lesnar mark, and he got just destroyed, and Just Bleed feels bad and looks terrible because his guy gets destroyed, but similar situation. But nonetheless, so Mookie says if GSP Bisping's boring, what happens? I mean, nothing happens. This is sort of what everybody's expecting. This is why ticket sales aren't going superb, and this is why it's not going to crack 1 million pay-per-view buys. This is why people ultimately don't want to see this fight. I'm intrigued. I want to see this fight, even though it's boring, just because of GSP's return. I'm excited.
I'm interested in it too. How can you not be interested in this fight? GSP's come back after 4 years, the greatest of all time. You know, arguably.
You can be interested in fights that stylistically might be boring just because of the angles.
Well, they might be exciting. We've seen, like, if you've learned anything from MMA, it's that weird shit is bound to happen. So weird shit might happen. So always watch. You know, it's goddamn GSP, for fuck's sake. Don't fuck around.
Yep, that's. Also, to add on to your point, that's why you shouldn't play video games during UFC dance, because crazy shit happens, or could happen.
Well, no, that's why you got the DVR, baby. You rewind and stuff. Yeah. Come on,
but then it won't be a surprise. But nonetheless, yes, GSP Bisping probably won't be fun, but you should still care, and nothing will happen. Again, it's sort of what the expectation is right now.
I'll tell you what, for real, and I'm not joking, every single GSP fight that I've watched, especially recently, I've always had a handheld video game in case. Because you know when GSP grabs top position, he's just going to ride that motherfucker out for 3 rounds. That Nate Diaz fight, I just somberly sat there and just was like, good. This is how it's going to be. Fine. And I just played video games on my phone.
I don't know why Liam Hughes hates you. He just put on the YouTube chat, Nick rules, Andrew loves balls in his throat. I don't know where that's coming from.
That's unfortunate.
It's random. It's out of nowhere.
Well, you know, I'm usually the one getting the love, and you get the hate. So this is a weird turn of fortune.
Just like anything, weird things happen in MMA. Weird things happen on the MMA circus.
That's just rude. It's just rude, good sir.
Liam Hughes, don't quit watching the show. We love you.
Bye, Liam.
That does it for episode 134 of the MMA Circus. Thank you guys for watching as always. Andrew, let everybody know where they can find your full of integrity. I have to come up with like an adjective. Full of integrity. It makes no sense.
Like it's integritous.
Integritous? Okay, that's way too wordy for that's too big of a word.
It's not a word. It's not a word at all.
Oh, okay, good. It shouldn't be. Anyways, where they can find your writing that is full of integrity. That's what I'll say. And your social media, everything else.
Yep, the leaders in MMA and in journalistic integrity. Beyond MMA, just complete, yeah.
Liam gave his explanation for why you like balls. He says,
I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested.
He just said because he said he won't do the tournament question.
Oh, okay.
He likes you. He's just talking shit.
Oh, well, that's sweet. But
and now he doesn't like me because he just said, Nick, you read out the one to make me look bad. Sorry,
there Liam. It is. Come on, guys. Yeah, you can find me on
circle.
It all comes back around. All right, so find me on middleeasy.com. My Twitter handle's @theclownkid. If you spell all 3 of those English words time together, you get access to my tweets. Pretty exclusive club. That's it. We'll have some cool stuff this weekend. I'm writing a sumo primer. I'm going to do it. Before the next sumo wrestling tournament, you will get on middleeasy.com the quick explanation on how to enjoy sumo wrestling. Are you excited to enjoy sumo, Nicholas?
I saw something about sumo. I think after the last Ryzen card a couple weeks back, someone came out with the ratings and said Ryzen was number 2 in the region in Japan, and number 1 was sumo or something like that. It's incredible.
Sumo's huge, man. Sumo's powerful, baby.
I believe it. Well, anyways, you guys can find me on the Twitter @Nick Baldwin MMA. You can find my writing over at bloodyelbow.com. You can find my other podcast called Before the Battle and Beyond Combat on this YouTube channel exclusively. Before the Battle is just a few hours away. Wesley Riddle is finally returning. He's been gone for a long, long time. He's turning into Andrew Lawrence here. He'll be coming back to preview UFC Sao Paulo alongside myself and Jed Meshew. That'll be 10 p.m. Eastern, so that is in less than an hour and a half on this YouTube channel. Tune in. Can't wait. And Beyond Combat, new show I launched last week. Go check out episode 1 with Jeremy Brand talking about working with special needs kids if you have yet to already. It was a lot of fun, actually. And episode 2 will be next week. Guest to be determined. Thank you guys all for watching. You can find the MMA Circus on bloodyelbow.com. Thank you to them for presenting the podcast each and every week. You can find us also on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Google Play, TuneIn, Player FM, Overcast, Podcast Addict, Jesus, and of course SoundCloud as well. Where go subscribe to our SoundCloud channel as well, and give us a thumbs up. And comment.
Thumbs up and a 5-star review, clowns.
Oh, by the way, last week when you said thumbs up like here, you actually did get the wrong side, like I predicted.
Well, you know, I
as you said, you're not a perfect person. Understand. So give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate it. For Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence, my name's Nick Baldwin. We'll be back next week. We're out.
What up, Jack?